So this is basically just going to be a straightforward and simple tutorial on how to 360 flip. So this was actually one of the hardest tricks for me to learn, but I've found some things that might be useful to you guys if you guys are learning the trick. So to start off with the back foot, you don't want your foot too far towards the end of the tail, but you don't want it too far in towards the pocket. And you definitely want your toes hanging off a little bit over the edge. What that'll do is it'll actually provide for some of the flip for the board as it makes its 360 rotation. I'll explain why later, just know that the back foot is probably the most important part of the TRE flip. So for my front foot, I have my foot up right below the front bolts, and what that does is it helps out with the balance, because a lot of people will put their foot towards the middle of the board, but I actually find that more difficult because it might make the flip a little bit easier, but it takes away a lot of the balance in the trick. So I often find myself unbalanced when I try and have my feet closer together like that, but when I have my foot up by the front bolts, helps me control the trick better. So if you ride regular like me, then this is what your feet will look like right before you do the trick. So this is the most important part of the TRE flip, and it's snapping the board straight down with your back foot and then scraping it across the ground. Instead of doing a fluid pop shove it motion, this motion will help with the flip and getting better pop. Another important thing here is to have that pinch between the back wheel and your board as you're scooping, and what that does is it pushes the front of the board up into your front foot, so it's easier to flip the board. As you can see here, if you look at my back left wheel, it's pretty much touching the board, and that's the kind of pinch you want. As for the motion with the front foot, you're pretty much not doing anything. You're just giving it a little flick, but don't worry about the front foot too much because most of the TRE flip comes from the back foot. As you can see here, my front foot doesn't really do much. Most of the power comes from the back foot, but there's just a little flick happening with the front foot. One more problem that people have with TRE flips, and this is actually a pretty common one, is landing on the board and slipping out, or landing on the board with one foot, whether you're in front of the board or behind the board. Now, all these problems come from one thing that you're doing wrong, and it's the way you jump. So if the board's making the rotation and the flip and all that, then you pretty much have TRE flips. All you have to do is make sure you're jumping straight up and down. Like, don't jump left, right, forward, or backwards. If you're new to the channel, go ahead and subscribe. And if you know any friends who are having trouble with TRE flips or 360 flips, then go ahead and send this video to them. I hope you found it useful, and thank you for watching.